Wages, we want to track all the different kind of wages that you may have. You may work a lot of overtime, for instance, in a particular organization. That should all count. It just isn't the 40 hours, but they try and factor in all of that amount of time, all the benefits that you get in this particular aspect. So if you work for a rancher, for instance, and every 6 months to every year you get half a side of beef, that's considered part of a wage, okay? Or if you're given housing, or you're given food allowance or something along those lines. All of this counts towards your wages, okay? So here's the accident description. Look at this little tiny block that you're gonna see here. How much of that accident description do you think you're gonna do? If you're trying to do an accident investigation, you think you're gonna get it all in that little block? Absolutely not, okay? So this is just the initial, hey, down and dirty, this is kind of what happened. Slipped on the floor, hit the concrete floor, busted my arm, okay? Now you want to go out and do that accident investigation, find out a little bit more about that. Well, why was there water on the floor? What caused the person to slip? What were they doing? You know, those kind of things to kind of help out your understanding with whether or not you consider this to be an actual valid claim. Again, you don't make that determination, but you certainly, off of this accident investigation, it helps give you peace of mind. If you have some red flags, if you have some issues, you certainly will find it during this particular process. So nothing kind of out of the ordinary here, with the exception of, if we're a no-fault state, why are we wanting to know whether safety equipment was provided or used? It just starts the communication a little bit more. So if it was provided and it wasn't used, as an employer, wouldn't you be kind of concerned about that? So that would give you pause to say, okay, so why wasn't it used? Let's find out why it wasn't. How about the claims examiner looking at this and say it wasn't either provided or used? So now the claims examiner can call up the employer and go, hey, you know, we have a lot of good information here. We got pamphlets, we have J.J. Keller, we buy BLRs, and those kind of things, pamphlets on anything you can think about, personal protective equipment, lifting, vehicle stuff, all kinds of different information that we got that we can send. And here's the other part of this. State Fund has, what, 12 safety management consultants throughout the state? By the Montana Safety Culture Act, if you guys ask, if you're a policyholder and you ask for our help, we're obligated to give it to you. You're paying for that service. Why not ask for it? You know, so here's an opportunity for the claims examiner to have that discussion. Hey, we have some people. Do you need help putting a program together? Would you like to have someone come out and kind of help you out with these kind of particular things? If the answer is yes, then, you know, we certainly will send somebody out to help you out or send you additional information or whatever. But it just, you can kind of see where this information goes to help further the communication and improve things within your organization. Legislative audits, we also have the Department of Labor and Industry looks over some of the things that we do. They're wanting to make sure that we're filing the cases right, that we're handling the cases right. Some of this information gets sent directly over to them. This is the information we're collecting from our end that goes out to other people. And so this part you don't really have to worry about. This is just the carrier part. Some other insurance companies within the state, work comp carriers, answer to the commissioner on insurance, or insurance commissioner. And so they actually address these things with them. The one that is enforcing safety and health compliance for private industry and for federal agencies. Now what that means is that they don't have control over anybody that works for a city, county, state, or school district. So in the state of Montana, we have our own Montana Safety and Health Act, in which we have, those folks are covered under the Montana Safety and Health Bureau, and the Bureau does their own enforcement, and they mirror to a certain extent some of the same requirements that OSHA has. It may be a little bit different in the reporting aspect and the fact that I think they want you to report it, but the fines, there is no fines necessarily on the public side. It's more or less from the standpoint of it's a misdemeanor if you violate something within the law and they decide to prosecute, but they've never gone to that length, okay? It's all off of voluntary compliance. As a matter of fact, when I was over there for 13 years, I did more of calling up and nagging people to get things done than what we did actually having to have a situation in which we went through the actual law. All right, so when we talk about this, this is really basically getting into just what the OSHA requirements are for their reporting and for their recording. currently, this is the setup. If you have a fatality, you have to report it to OSHA within 8 hours. Or if you had a catastrophic event, you sent 3 or more people to the hospital. And if you sent 3 or more people, that's a catastrophic event. Apparently it's big enough that that's something that they wanted to track. That's something through the end of the year that you still are required to do. There were 2 exceptions to this rule, however, in the fact that motor vehicle accidents on public roads, not in construction zones, but on just regular, you're sending someone across the state, they're involved in an accident, it's a fatality. OSHA's not going to investigate that. It's either the highway patrol or local law enforcement, and they don't have a need to redo that. And to be honest with you, I was in a situation when I was with the Bureau that I'm a compliance guy, and I had to follow up on those fatalities, and there was a couple fatalities up in the Kalispell area with highway patrolmen. My investigation was reviewing the accident report that came from the highway patrol and making sure that they covered all the things that I thought they should have, and of course, obviously they did. So they're just redoubling efforts. How about the same thing for fatalities on public transportation? You put a bunch of people on, you put your person on a plane and you send them to California for training or something, and the plane goes down and all souls on board are lost. Who's going to go out and do the investigation? Yeah, the FAA, or more likely the National Transportation Investigation Board or whatever it is, right? And I'm sure I got the acronym wrong on that one, but it's the National Transportation something or other that did it. OSHA isn't going to go and follow those folks up. So those were the 2 exceptions to that particular rule. January 1st of this coming year, you're still going to report all OSHA-related or work-related fatalities within 8 hours. So that's still the same requirement. However, now they want to change how you're going to report all work-related hospitalizations, amputations, and loss of an eye. Now, I have to tell you, I really struggle with this loss of an eye thing. What does that mean? Is that the loss of an actual eye? Could be eyesight. You just had something where you lost your eyesight. So I had to actually go into the Federal Registry, and this is what happens anytime OSHA changes something within their standards or anything else like that. They file, or they put that out first for open comment. After they get the open comments, they make their decisions, but they actually publish what they call a Federal Registry for that particular process. And in there, they actually described what they were looking for, and they used a medical term that I cannot even pronounce or I don't even remember, but it actually is closely related to amputation. So when they talk about a loss of an eye, they're actually talking about you lost the eyeball, okay? So they actually had an amputation of an eye, basically, okay? So you have to report that within 24 hours.